Hello, so today we are going to continue on Leetcode's 30-day challenge. So the first the problem today is backspace string compare. So the problem says given two string s and t, you want to return if they are equal when both are typed into empty text editor. So this here means a backspace character. So ABC and ADC with the character here true because S and T become, so basically we'll move B here and we'll move D here, and so we get AC and for each, and that's equal. So basically this means that the previous letter was deleted, and a similar, so here we delete both, so it's empty, the same thing here, so still true. Here we delete A, right? So we got C left, and A here, we got C left, so true also. Here we delete A, so C and B, that's false, okay. Okay, so essentially, and the follow-up here, if we can solve it in oven time and oven space. So the problem, and the length is at most 200. So is there a brute force solution for this? So it kind of seems like it's better to work backward, right? So basically, for each one of them, just get the final result, right? And then compare, right? So let's say we have a function here that like remove from backspace or something like that. And then we need to do that. So we get, let's say we get a string here for that one. And so at the end here, if we had that, we could just say, let's say we move with backspace here. If we had that, we could just compare this with this and return the result, right? And so that here, let's walk backwards, right? So let's take the length of the string and start from n-1 and then do -1 until the end. And what we want here is we want to remove so basically if si is equal to backspace character, then what we want to do is we want to remove si -1, right? So if I -1 is bigger than 0, then we should just replace si -1 until I plus 1, right? That would give us position I -1 and position I, and we want to put string there, right? So let's see first, make sure that this is actually that won't work. So what we will need is something different here. So because yeah, this is a list, part of a list, so we can't really assign that like this. So what we maybe need is let's just say maybe a new string here. So if this is the case, then we should skip, well, we can't really skip that either. I was thinking skipping the previous one, not inserting it, but maybe the previous one was also a backspace, right? Okay, so I think actually this here is not a very good idea. I think what we should do is just maybe have pointers that we advance or like start from the end and that we make go to the left, and skip those that should be removed. So not something like this, but maybe let's have a pointer for s, right? and then another one for t, right? So let's call it s pointer or something like that, and then t pointer, and then we will need to know how many skips, right? So s skips, and then maybe t skips, the skips for each. And so let's start these with 0 here, and for the pointers, let's start them from the end, right? So this would be the end of s and then the end of t. And then here we should, I think, we have the pointers for each, right? So let's first try to handle just for s. So just for s, we will need to maybe, let's see, maybe have the pointer here. We want to make sure that it's still bigger than 0, right? And then what we want is to check if here is equal to the backspace. If it's equal to a backspace, what do we want to do? We know that we need to increment the number of skips, right? And then if it is, so we know we can skip, right? But when should we compare with the pointer for t, right? So that's another thing we should do here. So basically, once we skip, we also advance the pointer. We advance the pointer here, and so we advance the pointer for s, right? But what if it's, so if it's not a backspace and we have a number of skips, then we don't care actually, because even if it's equal, it will be the same result, right? So here else, if our pointer is bigger than 0, right, then we can just, so we will advance the pointer anyway here, but here we could just decrement the number of skips, right, because we just used 1. Sorry, I meant here the number of skips is bigger than 0. So just decrement that, right? And then at each point we should, now we should increment the pointer. Now the problem becomes, now what should we do if, the string is not like a backspace and there is no number of skips left? I mean, we could definitely do something here where else we could just break, right? And then here we could, while both are bigger than 0, and so with this we can do the same thing for pointer at t. Yeah, this is becoming a little bit complicated, but let's try, and redundant here, but let's just first try to fix it, try to make it work. So we do the same thing for the pointer for t. Now when we reach this point here at the end here, what should happen? So so here we would have 2 pointers that they have to be equal. If they are different at this point, we already used the skips. So if they are different at this point, then and the number of skips, then we should just, so if s at the pointer s at this pointer is different than the one at this pointer, and right, s and there is no number of skips, right, is equal to 0, or the number of skips for t. Well, actually, if the number of skips for s is not equal to 0, so it's end. Skips, then we could return false immediately. Now, what happens if they are either equal? If they are equal, then nothing to do. But if they are, like, there is a number of skips. So if, let's say there is a skip here, then we could use it, right? So if this is bigger than 0, then we could just take the s pointer, decrement it by 1. Well, actually, we would not have exited because of this, right? So I don't think we should do this. And then we should increment both pointers here. Actually, we should never increment these. We should always decrement them. Should definitely. Or if equal to 0 and this one is not equal to 0, right, we should return false, because that means we found a letter that is not, what doesn't work, or the reverse here. Well, there are so many things going on that this must fail. I mean, I don't think this will pass, but let's try it anyway. Okay, so even the first case doesn't work. Yeah, so actually thinking about this again, and we don't need actually these while loops, right? What I'm doing here can be easily done, I think, with a stack. So I think what I should do, instead of all of this here, this will never work. It has too many pointers for it to work. So let's try instead to go back to our initial method, which is remove from backspace, right? Which would remove letters from the backspace, right? And so let's say you give it a string, and then the way we can do this, I think, is just have a stack, and whenever we encounter a backspace, remove whatever was before. So go in order like this. So which means here we would encounter A, so we'll put A in the stack, and then we'll encounter B. We'll put B in the stack, and then we'll encounter this hashtag here. We'll remove B from the stack. And in this case, where we have 2 here, let's say I had B here and A, I would have put both B and A in the stack. When I encounter this first one, I remove A from the stack, because the stack puts the latest one on top, and that's what we want here. And then once I remove A, there is B still in the stack. I encounter this second backspace, so I'll remove also that B, so the only one remaining would be C. So with a stack, it's really easy to do it here. So I just need a stack here. So in Python, I could use that, and then I could just go through the string and then just check if this is, then I should pop. I need to handle the case where, let's say this one is the first, let's say a word that has something like this, where A, B, C, right? So there is nothing yet in the stack, so I should handle that. But this is the main idea, and otherwise I could just add to the stack here. So that would be append C. So here I need to make sure that my stack is not empty. So I do if stack, and then I pop here. And then at the end, I should return just the string in the stack, right? And the stack is just a list, so I just need to do join for stack here. And then at the end, I should return just convert both and compare them, right? Now it's because this would make it be the normal word after applying all the backspaces. And so we need to do that for T, and this should pretty much cover it, I think. Okay, so that's true. Let's try for this one here. Okay, so this seems good. Let's try with the other test case, which is this one. Okay, seems like it's promising, so let's submit. Okay, so that worked. So this is pretty straightforward. We are doing just one, let's say the length of S is N and the length of T is M. So the overall time complexity here would be, so we are doing this with one for loop, right? So it's O of N for S and then O of M for T. So O of N plus M, and then well, we just compare every letter. So overall it's just O of N plus M time here. In terms of space, we are using this stack here, right? And then we are using it 2 times, one for S and one for T, right? So in a similar way, it's also of N plus M space. And that kind of fits. So that fits the O of N time. It doesn't fit the O of one space. For that, you will maybe need to do one of the pointers technique. But yeah, I think this is good enough. Let's see how other people solved it. Yeah, this is using a similar technique to the stack, just using a DQ. You are using a stack. Same thing here. Let's see the memory efficient ones. Yeah, it seems like most solutions are using a stack. Yeah, so that's all for this problem. See you on the next one.